Hi guys, it's Lee with Pig-Chicka-Cow-Cow here. Today we're going to show you how to cold smoke on our QDS drum. We're actually going to smoke something that a lot of you probably haven't done yet, and that is we're going to cold smoke sugar to make simple syrup, and then we're going to turn it into some cocktails later. So how do we set our QDS drum up to cold smoke? I have these little soup cans, tin cans, that I drilled a bunch of holes in, and I fill it up with charcoal. And today we're going to use, these are some oak staves from whiskey barrels. Broke them up into little chunks, and they're inside here, so that we're actually going to use these barrels as our smoke today. So we got our Black Dog firewood charcoal in here, and then we're going to set this down inside the QDS drum and light it, and then we're going to put a pan of ice on the heat diffuser, and that's going to keep the entire drum cold while it's also producing smoke at the same time. So, Amanda, if you want to come over here, and we'll put this together. So we're going to put the charcoal down in, and then the heat diffuser, and then we're going to put the ice on top of that. Alright, we're back. We have the smoker lit with the small can and the charcoal in it and the ice on top of it. So we're not going to use the controller today because we don't need a big fire. So, and we're actually trying to keep the fire small and just produce a little bit of smoke. So the drum will just naturally allow enough air to flow through here, and that ice will keep the entire drum cold while letting enough smoke come out. So to make simple syrup, it's typically a ratio of half sugar and half water. So we're actually going to use sugar in the raw today because I like the flavor of it. There's a little more molasses in it than your regular sugar. So we're actually going to put it on a splatter shield, and this is, you can buy these anywhere, Target or whatever. And because it's a screen, it'll allow the smoke to go through it and smoke both sides of the sugar that's on here. And it's a real fine mesh. You can barely see through it. So we're just going to take some of the sugar in the raw, dump it on the screen, and spread it out to a nice thin layer. Well, the other reason I like the splatter shield is there's a lip that'll help hold the sugar on so it doesn't fall off that much when you're moving it around and trying to spread it out. So we're going to spread this out, nice even layer around here so that it gets all covered in smoke. Okay, and we're just going to set this right inside the drum above the ice. Alright, we're back. It's been about 3 hours and the sugar's been cold smoking this whole time. So what we did is every couple minutes, well, probably like 45 minutes, we would mix the sugar around on the splatter shield. You can see it got a little darker color to it. And then what we also did that wasn't on the first segment of the video, we actually made some simple syrup ahead of time and actually smoked the liquid. So we got two different methods here. We're going to find out which one's better. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this sugar into the house, and we're going to mix it 1 part water, 1 part sugar, and we're going to boil the water, mix the sugar into the boiling water, and stir it for about 5 minutes to keep it from sticking to the bottom and caramelizing, and it'll start to get a little thicker, and then that's when it's the perfect doneness to use for a cocktail. Alright, now that we smoked our sugar and our simple syrup mixture, we decided that we liked the simple syrup mixture that was completely smoked, already mixed in the smoker. The sugar smoked was good, but the simple syrup had a lot smokier flavor, and that was probably the better one of the two. And I'm going to bring in my friend Michael, who is the owner of Buffa Bitters, and he's going to make a cocktail for us. But first of all, what is a bitter, Michael?
That's a good question. So a bitter really is a tincture of sorts. So it's a mixture of herbs and botanicals and different types of roots mixed together in an alcohol solution. So at least that's the way we make it, which is a little bit more on the traditional method of making a bitter.
And what's probably the most common drink that bitters are found in?
Old fashioned.
Old fashioned, my favorite. So what are we going to make today?
Well, we're going to make a little bit of a take on an old fashioned, but we're going to smoke it up a little bit.
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Shall we do it?
Let's do it.
All right. So the first thing we want to do is mix all of our ingredients. So what we're going to do is take 1.5 ounces of, you can do an American whiskey, a bourbon. You're going to pour it in your mixing glass. You're going to take 1/2 ounce of rum. Pour that in the mixing glass.
So this is not your typical old fashioned because it has rum in it.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I feel the rum, the sweetness in the rum is going to play really well with the smoke in the simple syrup. And then we're going to do one additional step as well. So we're going to take our smoked simple syrup, and because rum is sweet, we're only going to do about a 1/4 ounce. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab the old-fashioned bitters, do 1 dash of that. Then we're going to take the Holy Moly bitters, add a little bit of a chocolate spice, do 3 dashes in there.
So how do I know how much a dash is?
So basically, 1 dash should be one kind of shake of the bitter bottle.
Okay.
So then what we're going to do is I always like to mix everything before I put my ice in. Looks good. And then we're going to grab some ice. We're going to put it in our mixing glass. And we are going to give this a stir. And while that's kind of settling there for a little bit, normally I'd stir that a little bit more, but it's hot out here. So now what we're going to do.
So what is this? This is
actually one of the barrel staves that you use to smoke the simple syrup. So what I'm doing now is getting this nice and charred up, create a flame. And then we're going to put it out with our glass.
So this is going to impart a smokiness on the glass itself, as well as inside the beverage that we're drinking.
Exactly. You can actually smell it now, smelling really good.
Yeah. Love the smell of those oak barrels burning.
Now what we're going to do, we're going to flip our glass back over. You see the smoke coming out. We're going to grab one of our large ice cubes. We're going to put it right there. And then pour that in here. That does smell delicious.
Yep. You can see the smoke coming up from the wood stave coming up out of the glass. That's fantastic.
Well, take a sip. See what you think.
Oh my, that's fantastic. You can taste the smoking. We didn't add a lot of simple syrup, but
right.
You can taste the smokiness of it, and you can the aromatic of the burning wood stave like coming out of the glass was amazing. It's definitely a smoky cocktail for sure. So, if the people wanted to try your Buffa Bitters, where would they pick it up at right now?
Well, if they're local to Orlando, you can go to 5 Star Liquor and Wine. You can go to Pat's Liquor and Leaf. They have 2 locations, both in Sanford and by UCF, and the tasting room down on Sand Lake.
And then there's a handful of bars using Buffa
Bars,
Bitters.
restaurants all across town right now, they're using them, and a lot of them have them on the menu too, which is pretty cool.
Nice. Thanks for being with us today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
My pleasure.